Hello, I'm Sarah Poet, and this video is about embodied boundaries. So, boundaries are an aspect of your personal truth. That's where they come from. There's an internal yes or no inside of your system that you intuitively know. Now, the tricky part is whether or not you honor that, whether or not you feel that you can honor that. You can always honor your internal yes or no, and we'll be talking about that and more in the upcoming Sacred Truth Mastermind and Mystery School. But here we go with embodied boundaries. So the first aspect of embodying your boundaries is about identifying what your boundary is. And this is just simply, I know that it's complex, but it really is simply listening to what you already know. You already know your internal yes or no. And so, what are you okay with? What are you not okay with in any given situation? Now, what happens when we go to set a boundary or communicate a boundary, usually what we're experiencing is a little bit of a trauma response if that feels uncomfortable to set. So I don't think that we talk enough about this when we talk about boundaries in the world. It is evoking a somatic response that is akin to a trauma response. So, you might get sweaty, you might kind of feel sick, you might feel your throat constrict, you could feel like something bad is going to happen to you, like you're going to disappoint people, like you're going to be punished, like you're going to lose something or even lose your life. I mean, the fears around speaking our truth and speaking our boundaries are really quite large. They go quite deep. And so oftentimes I think that we're encouraged to just speak the boundary or get it out there or, defend. And that defending takes a lot of energy. If anyone has ever tried to defend a boundary, if you're defending a traumatized stance, that's a lot of energy in your body that your body is, required to keep up with, right? So if I don't want something to happen and I am so afraid of saying that, and then I'm like sweating and my throat's tight and I'm worried, and then I'm, saying, but I don't want it. And maybe that person's pushing back. It takes a lot of energy to defend a boundary that way. We don't want to do that anymore. No. Your truth is your truth. Your clarity is your clarity. And you don't have to defend your clarity. So I often talk about we don't actually need boundaries because we don't need to build walls. We need our clarity. And then we need to stand in that embodied clarity. So what does that look like? Well, it looks like first identifying what your clarity is, and then having that clarity with yourself, practicing it with yourself, practicing it with your breath, your movement. If you're saying it with yourself and you're feeling the throat constriction or the belly constriction, then for sure, when you go to say it to somebody else, you're going to feel those same somatic trauma responses. And so you need to be, loving and caring for yourself prior to practicing these things with others. Okay. And then when you have that practice, actually, I'll insert something I didn't plan to say here, is that when you can practice with someone who's not the person that you need to speak the clarity to, that can be quite helpful. And that is why we mastermind together as women in the Sacred Truth Mastermind, is because you're practicing living into your embodied truth before you're, maybe speaking it to the world. You just want to know it. You want to have it. And when you know it and you are clear and you have breath practices, you have embodiment practices, you're feeling strong in your body and strong in your clarity, you've practiced speaking your truth maybe to other women and it went well, right? You've been witnessed in your truth, then you can speak your clarity. And it's not about what power that person's going to take from you or what you're going to lose. You're just really clear. Your 2 feet are firmly planted on the ground. You know what you're a yes to, you know what you're a no to, and that's it. That's simply it. There's nothing else that can rock you when you're in that space. So if you're a woman listening to this and you've listened through to the end, I want you to consider whether or not the Sacred Truth Mastermind and Mystery School is right for you. We begin in October of 2022. And the reason that it is called both a mastermind and a mystery school is bigger than I'll go into here, but we mastermind together. It's like, the women lifting one another up. And then it's also, I'm calling it a mystery school because we will be standing in the embodied truth and using energy support. So methods of energetic sovereignty. Okay, if that's new to you, that's okay. I'm super happy to introduce you to that because it's only going to bolster your empowerment. In short, we don't just stand in our truth from our nervous system. Okay, so if we're only relying on our nervous system to stand in our truth, we're going to be on shaky ground. We also need to practice the energetic practices, such as meditation, such as some visualization, and knowing how the energetic structure of your energy body around your body, knowing how that works so that you can bolster that so that you are even more sovereign and strong and embodied in your personal truth and in your boundaries. So thank